I'm going to turn this into a 3/32 Clone Trooper helmet. And I'm going to show you how I do it today on Darth Rage Reviews.
Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Greetings, Force fans, and welcome to another episode of Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force. If you'd be so kind, guys, I always do this in the beginning. Nobody listens, but one day somebody will. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. If you like the video, give me a like. If you really like the video, give me a comment. All these things help engagement. They help my channel. It's an easy way for you to help me if you like what I'm doing here. It costs you nothing. So please, go ahead. All right, guys, it is beginning project time. I love this time when I get something fresh and new, and I'm just getting ready to start out on a new adventure of creating a prop. So what do I have here? If you guys saw my unboxing, I have a Galactic Armory Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet. This is in 3 pieces, and I've got some greeblies and things with it as well, that, you know, the ear greeblies and that stuff. But basically, I'm going to take this and turn it into a 3/32 helmet. That's the helmet that kind of looks like Ahsoka. Because I can take that, create that helmet, and then resubmit this clone as a 3/32 clone and get 2 approved Clone Trooper outfits. So, yeah, I'm going to take this 3D printed piece of plastic and turn it into a piece of art. And with the magic that is YouTube, you guys are going to be able to see the whole process. So why don't we just take a little pause here, and I'll walk you through the process of finishing this 3D printed helmet. Let's take a look. We're going to start with sanding. Anytime you want to super glue anything, you really do need to sand the area that you're going to put the super glue on. So I started with the back and the front face piece, a little super glue on there, followed by some accelerant just to speed the process up. Gloves on for safety, and I just don't want to get it all over my fingers. So then I threw another layer of it on the inside just for a little extra strength and more super gluiness in there. Then I got to throw the top of the dome on there, same process, super glue, line it up, and then put some accelerant in there just to make it bond instantly. And I got to go through and sand everything. I'm using a 100 grit here. This first process, you just want to get something on here to kind of let this slurry stick. So here I'm using a Bondo Glazing Spot Putty slurry. Mixed it with some acetone, and I'm just painting it all over the helmet. A little thicker on the areas that have a lot of layer lines. This is a very rounded helmet, so there really were a lot of layer lines all over it. Got to cover that up. Just kind of speeds the process up, and it takes a couple steps of doing the filler primer. We'll take a couple steps of that out. And I got to sand the whole process, guys. A lot of sanding here. I'm only showing you brief spats of it because it's boring. You know, this is a very lonely existence when you're making props. Lots and lots of sanding. So then you can see where I put also some fiberglass resin. I painted that on some of the harder areas that had really thick lines. Then it was onto the first layer of filler primer. Once you throw the filler primer on there, you'll really kind of see where you've got issues and where you need to throw that glazing spot putty on once again. But again, you sand in between every single step here. Sand. Also, you're going to rinse between every single step, and I actually do show the rinse process for the first time ever. It's going to be a rinse premiere here that you guys are going to see. There it is. But I do that between every process. So then you see where the big really bad lines are, and again I come back through with another layer of this slurry. Just paint it on all over, and I think this is actually the last time that I had to use the slurry in this process. It actually worked pretty well. After this, more filler primer, guys. This is a lather, rinse, repeat process. You do this over and over and over and over, and eventually you get to somewhere where you don't see any lines anymore. It's not a hard process. It's just a long process. So again, back to the sanding. And I think this is the last time that I show you guys the sanding, and then we are on to the white paint. So when you get to the white paint and these other paints, you really want to do light coats. So, you know, a very light coat, let it dry a couple minutes, come back, very light coat, let it dry a couple minutes. You do that over and over and over and over again. And then I start doing the detail work. So this is the charcoal gray, and I also do the black paint. So I painted this, taped it all off so I could do both colors at the same time. Then the fun taping began. So I let that dry overnight, and then I came back and taping off for the 3/32 Ahsoka coloring. This is, you can see I've got the reference picture there from the costume reference library, the CRL for the 501st. Coming through and just kind of taping this off, you know, cutting the tape where I need to, so I'm not, you know, so I can keep the stuff orange that needs to stay orange. But yeah, got this done in probably about 25 minutes or so. Then I'm coming through with liquid latex. This is how I do that, you know, weathering that I've added into, you know, all of this. So I prefer the liquid latex. It just, to me, it's a really easy process. It's a fun process to do, and it gives a really effective look. And I just had to tape off the charcoal for the little frown there, get that taped off. So I didn't paint that inadvertently orange. That would have really upset me if I had done that. So next up comes the orange tape. So before I painted the orange, and I do this on all the colors, I throw down a layer of white just to make sure that in any of where the tape's not really down good, make sure that I kind of tape that over. Then it's a couple coats of the Ahsoka orange on there. Let that dry overnight again, and then it's on to the weathering. So for the weathering, I start with this kind of rusty brown that's all over the ears of all the clones. Don't know why, but I dig it. I think it looks really cool. So I did that on both sides. And then I also kind of threw some in on the cheeks just to give it a little dusty, dirty look. Then it's time for blaster marks. So just some standard black paint in here, getting the edges, getting some details, and then throwing in blaster marks all over these helmets, just some nicks and some notches. I really enjoy this process as well. It's a fun process for me to kind of, you know, bring out the detail. Then it's time for the black wash. So the black wash goes over the entire helmet. Lots and lots of layers of this. I think I did 4, 5, 6 layers of this. You know, made it heavier, made it lighter, made it heavier, made it lighter. Couldn't really make up my mind, but the end is, I think, a really, really well-weathered, you know, it looks good. It looks good. Just finish the whole process off with a clear coat just to seal everything in at the end. And, you know, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this process as much as I enjoyed doing this process. Here's the helmet. All right, guys, that's how I made this. All right, I got to say, I am very, very pleased with this. Now, probably went a little wider on these two stripes here than I had to, but I like it. And, you know, as Rex said in the episode, it was a rushed paint job. So the 3/32, yeah, it's honestly one of my favorite helmet designs. You know, I love Ahsoka for obvious reasons. I think everybody should love Ahsoka. But I just dig this design. It's a really cool aesthetic. Look at all this I've got. Sorry, I have glue gun remnants. Sorry, should have checked out beforehand. Yeah, no, I love the episode where Ahsoka is introduced to the 3/32. You know, just such a really cool episode. She comes back in there, and Rex calls her Commander, and she's like, you know, Rex, you don't have to call me Commander anymore. He's like, sure thing, Commander. The relationship between Rex and Ahsoka is really cool. I love that it's further explored in Rebels. But yeah, love this helmet. So let's take a look up close, guys. And you let me know. Like, I got a little bit of glue on the visor. I'm gonna actually redo that visor. I've got another visor coming in, and I still have the stripes. Should be in tomorrow. I've got stripe decals that I'll be adding on the side here. But yeah, take a look at this thing. Take a look. Very, very pleased with it. So on the back here, I actually messed up on the back here when I glued the helmet down. I glued it crooked. And so rather than try to remove the whole thing and re-glue it, I just kind of added some Bondo here, not Bondo spot putty, actual Bondo filler. And I think I did a pretty good job of recreating that circle. But yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake that I had in the process. There's mistakes all the time, but you know, the good news about a clone is you weather this bad boy up and you won't see any of that stuff. So where do I go from here? Well, that one's kind of easy. Once I get those helmet stripe decals in, I'm going to pop those on the side here. I'm going to throw on the whole armor again, put this helmet on top, take some more pictures, and resubmit to the 501st for another approved costume, because they now have a realistic CRL for the 332nd. So I can go ahead and get, basically with one set of armor, 2 different approved costumes. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and submit that, and hopefully it will get approved. And if it does, then I've actually exceeded my goal. My goal was to get 1 approved 501st costume this year, and I would have gotten 2 approved 501st costumes. So yeah, very, very psyched. Very, very psyched. I did take some pretty pictures of this, so let me show you guys a couple of those real quick, just so you can see some nice glamour shots of this 332nd helmet. Yeah, again, very, very pleased with how this turned out. You know, I learn a little something new with every project that I do, and I think I get a little bit better with every project that I do. And yeah, I'm super, super pleased and super psyched with what this one looked like. So yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think of this 332nd clone helmet? And if you guys had your choice, what clone battalion would you do? You know, if you could do any clone helmet, what clone helmet would you do? Let me know in the comments. So hope you enjoyed that project. It was honestly a quick, fun one for me. And you know, don't be afraid, guys. These things, this is a very affordable, very easy way to get yourself some really cool Star Wars props. Don't be afraid to kind of follow the instructions I put in here and jump in and try to make your own. If you enjoyed it, guys, give me a like, give me a comment. As always, I'm Darth Rage. This is Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.